Hi, welcome. Today we've got TJ Wharton, Routing and Performance Coordinator for Maryville College in Tennessee. Hey, appreciate you spending some time with us today.
No problem. We got all the time in the world right now, right?
Yeah, a little bit strange days right now. So before we get into all the COVID-19 stuff and we talk about maybe the impact to the team, let's hear a little bit about you. What was your playing background, coaching background, and what kind of brought you to Maryville?
Um, I'll try to cut it as short as possible because I've been all over the place. But grew up in Tampa, Florida. Went to Bishop McLaughlin High School, Catholic high school, and from there, that's when my crazy journey started. I committed to UNC Greensboro. Had a great time there, coaching change. And once that coaching change happened, I left for just one semester to go to Guilford Tech. Then from Guilford Tech, I went to Catawba College, which I always say is the best decision in my life. Jim Gant's one of the best coaches in the country.
Yeah, great program.
Yeah, phenomenal. And my senior season, we lost in the national championship game to Tampa, which was kind of ironic because we had the three guys from my high school team on it, so that was a cool little scenario. Then from there, I went on to play independent baseball, and played in the Pecos League, the Can-Am League, and the Frontier League. So, and that was all in 1 year. I had the opportunity to go back, but decided to get into coaching. So in my coaching career, I went from Catawba College to Eckerd College, St. Pete College, to now to Maryville College. So
Awesome. So let's backtrack there. You piqued my interest. So you're at the D3 national championship game, and you've got three other high school teammates playing in that same game.
yeah, it was D2. Yeah, and there was
D2, yeah.
yeah, there was three high school teammates on the other side, the D2 national championship game. It was quite a story, and it was an awesome experience. It really was.
Any matchups you want to highlight or throw some
Uh,
shade at anybody?
no, there was no matchups. It was still crazy because that's when I left UNC Greensboro, Tampa was where I wanted to go. It's just happened to be that Catawba was a better financial option, and then so it was ironic for everyone.
Gotcha. So tell me, you're at Marysville now. What's the program like there?
Phenomenal. Coach Helton, this was his first year as a head coach. He had been an assistant for the past 6 years at the school, and he played all 4 years at Maryville. So he has a great grasp of everything that's going on at Maryville at all times. And then we have another assistant, Drew Henry. He played 4 years, and he's in his second year at the school. And just everything they told me before I got there was true about family. I've never felt more connected to a group than any other team I've been a part of because it's, D3 rules are a little wonky and we'll get into that, but just as far as just liking everyone as a human being, regardless of baseball, it was a really cool first year with these guys.
So let's get into the COVID stuff. So where were you guys at? How did you find out? How did you roll that out to the team?
So it was we were practicing and we kind of had a sense of what was going on, and then during the middle of practice, I saw on my phone that three of our schools had canned their season, and the writing was on the wall. So we decided to. The pitchers had a couple shutouts, and they hadn't had their pitchers beep. So we kind of saw what was happening. So we wanted to end it on a lighter note. We had pitchers beeps, and that was a good time. But the following day, we had a full spring team meeting with all the department. They broke the news there, obviously, a lot of emotion. And then we went to our own private team meeting, and it was really tough. I mean, because everyone on the team, I hadn't seen our teams in the previous years, obviously, but everyone was telling me that this was going to be, one of the best teams in history, which is crazy because we've been around since don't quote me on it, but I think the 1860s.
So what was it like how many seniors did you have? And because at that point in time, no one knew about eligibility or what their options were going to be. It was just over.
Yeah. And the worst part about it is just, even if they had the opportunity, it would have been very, very tough because we would, Division III, we don't have any athletic scholarships. So they're going to be paying another full year. Pretty much everyone is graduating. So even, as soon as it went down, there really wasn't many options. So we had, I can't remember the exact number, but we had a good amount of seniors, and two of these seniors, we had three seniors having, record seasons. We had Jordan Davis, he was a third in the nation strikeouts with 51. Alden Wright, our senior DH, was leading the country in hits, and Derek Hurt was behind him. He was sixth, but was leading the nation hit by pitches. So our offense was doing something special, and as long as Jordan Davis is a starter, so it could have been something great.
Yeah. So tell me where you guys sit now. What are the restrictions now for you as coaches in the recruiting process and with your players regarding the COVID-19 from a D3 standpoint?
It's just there's not too many restrictions per se. I mean, obviously there's no baseball going on, but we're allowed to contact juniors and seniors. So right now, the biggest thing I could say is that hopefully going forward after this, I can inform some parents about how important video can be. Regardless, this situation, it makes it even more crucial because we're not going out there. We can't even see any games or, not even live competition. But, we're trying to get as much video as we can right now, and just reaching out to different coaches to see what they have.
So talk to me a little bit about like at the D3 level, the guys you already have committed to your program that are coming in. What's the impact to those guys, and how are you guys communicating with them?
It's just we're just excited to have them because we're going to be losing a lot of seniors. We have a group chat that we try to stay constant communication. The best thing that I've done that I think that the guys appreciate so far is that I've created about 3 months ago, I created our own separate Twitter, and there's just so much good information out there that I made that Twitter just to retweet everything, so the guys are always informed of what they should be doing. It's not just the same voice coming at you the entire time. It's tons of smart people, and I can just retweet stuff off that page and give our guys various options of what they can do throughout this entire time on single days, weeks, just different ways from mental health all the way to training.
So what about the unsigned 2020s? What advice do you have for them, and where are you guys at? Are you guys full, or you guys still have some spots, some needs?
Right now, it's just mainly pitching. We always have room for some arms, but with position players, we were other than two senior outfielders, we were pretty young because we had two junior catchers and then sophomores and below across the infield. So we were pretty young when it comes to the offensive side. So we're pretty set there. But for the 2020 class, as long as the video is huge, and it's just because a video and the way that you take video, that's another way, because at the Division III level, it's not the biggest budgets in the world, so we can't be flying out to Arizona and doing all these things. I'm lucky enough that I can just go back and see my parents in Florida and recruit some Florida kids. But it's for us, it's just being driving around locally. But if you can give us good quality video, that's just as good as being there, and even better because it's saving us time.
So let's talk about that video piece. What are you looking for? Are you looking for game footage, highlight film? Are you looking for skills video, hitting in a cage. Can you talk a little bit about the different types of video and maybe what order you want to see them from a kid?
Sure. I'll start with pitching because obviously we need pitching, and that's what the majority of the video that you see online. Um, with pitching, there's some checkpoints that you have to really check off to get a usable video for us, and one of them is just two angles, just from behind, so that we can see if you're throwing strikes or not, and then to the side for mechanics. So having those two different viewpoints, that's big. But the biggest thing is having a radar gun in the video, something reputable, whether it's pocket radar, a stalker, Rapsodo, any of those tools. Having that in the video is crucial because there are heavy.
If I put in there that I throw 85, it may not be right. If I put it down in the text part.
That's one thing that I see a lot, and it's just that people are pretty good at editing videos now, and then the fastball 85 and bottom, like, well, I don't know if that's true or not. So just having pocket radar coach, it's $400. Nowadays that could be 4 lessons, who knows. But just that's the best thing for as a high school athlete to purchase, because it has an app on your phone, and all you have to do is have someone holding the pocket radar, and the radar and the reading will flash across screen, and it's that simple. You can go, recruiting services are probably way more money in that, than $400, and you can just have that, boom, put that video up on Flat Ground or any of those sites to get retweeted. And
even if you can't afford that, there's somebody in that circle, your travel team, high school team, somebody's got one.
Correct. Yeah. Stalker, any of someone's got it, and you can just go around. There's so many facilities that would, you probably could charge, a tunnel for $20 and they would give you their stalker or something like that. There's definitely ways to just take that video with the iPhone, get the stalker in there, and we can go from there.
Awesome. So talk to me a little bit more of the video from maybe some of the position players or hitting. What are you looking for there? Game footage, highlights, maybe some angles, or?
So when it comes to pitching, as long as there's multiple videos, there's a good chance that we might be able to strictly recruit you off of that. There's a high chance, especially at the Division III level, because we can't be too picky. But when it comes to position players, it's more essential for us to go out and see you play, because it's because a lot of the game footage is from far away. It's from parents. It's not good enough to where I can't see the exact movements and how well you're moving and how good is that pitcher that you're facing. Those are good ways to get the conversation started. Game footage, BP, arm strength, all of that is important. But I think the biggest thing that goes unnoticed for me personally, because I have a catching background, I caught the one thing that goes, if you have good pitchers on your staff and they're recording for themselves, putting recruiting tape for themselves, and they've got good stuff, and then you're back there catching that stuff efficiently, that's part of your recruiting tape. That means so much more to me than having a pop time of under 2, because you catch the ball every time the ball's thrown. So
if I'm a guy, and as of now I can't get into some facilities, but I got a cage in my garage or backyard. From the swinging standpoint, from the hitting, what are you guys looking for angle wise there?
It depends on what type of player you are. But with hitting, it's very, very different. But I'm just looking at how you move. That's something that I'm really big on, is just because I'm also the strength coach for our program. So I see a lot of things that tie together, and as long as you're moving well and producing enough force, I think I can definitely do some stuff. I can actually help you, make you a better baseball player. So I'm not going to get the most out of you hitting into net off a tee, because a lot of it, study after study has shown is that the only thing that's going to get you better is facing live pitching, you know. But there's it definitely can get the conversation started right now. If you have a video camera, you have a tee, a net, it's definitely worth sending out.
Okay. So you mentioned like you're trying to see body actions. I know in your background you've done some performance work with like the Yankees, and you that's in part of your title there at Maryville. Talk to me a little bit about your performance background and how that translates into what you're doing when you're watching.
Um, so it all started when I got an indie ball, because it was so I had finished, and I just, for myself personally, I knew I wasn't done, because there were nothing against the coaches I had. It's just that I wanted a full year to dedicate to baseball, because I knew that I could get a little bit more out of myself without having to worry about classes, and just how well I understood hitting. And I took that year and I really dedicated my body. I got better, had a better understanding of how to move, and how, because what I was known for was swinging on my shoes. I would to give you a reference. There was twice where I would swing a wood bat and I broke it on my shoulder. So I swing really hard. But just so in saying that, everyone would tell me, just don't swing so hard, don't swing. And it's not that simple for guys that do, just overswing like that. So that in that year, I found out that there's a lot more to than actually just swinging bat. You got to have control of your body. And once I really found and could control my body, that's when more things in swing started clicking. So when I got with the Yankees, that everything with the Yankees was kind of pure luck, because my parents had some friends within the Yankees organization that started some conversation. Jody Reed was actually my hitting instructor when I was 13, 14, and he was the field coordinator for the Yankees. And one day he was just like, "Hey, we need someone to come catch pens. Come on down to the facility." So that was cool. And so from then on, I just started catching pens, and I got to catch big leaguers and all those things. So I caught Andrew Miller, all those guys down there. It was awesome experience. And most of the time it was during pre-spring training. And when the catchers started rolling in, I would leave. And then I got the job of performance science, assistant in performance science, because I was saying bye to the coordinator of that department at the time, and he's like, "Hey, we need you to catch." So more or less, it's just a fancy title, but I just love tying everything in. It's because I've learned so much from the weight room that has made me a better player than hitting. It's like I felt that movement in the weight room, and then I transitioned it into my batting practice. That's the biggest thing that I'm recognizing, is that you can make yourself that much better of a hitter, and you don't even have to have the bat in your hands.
So talk to me a little bit about what your recommendation are for players. If you've got players out there, say 2021 through 2023, what should those guys be doing right now?
Okay.
As far as recruiting or reaching out to coaches?
This is something I feel really passionate about, because it's people want to make money off of recruiting videos and everything like that, but what you got to do if you're a high school player is you got to know what the bare minimum is for each level. Okay, that's what you got to understand, because if you're a right-handed pitcher and you're throwing mid-70s and you're sending that video around the country, that's not going to do anything for you. And that's what I feel so bad. And because there's points in my career where I wish someone would have grabbed me by the shoulder and be like, "Look, you're just not good enough." You need to get better in this area, this area, this area, and then we can go. So definitely having a baseline, acceptable amount of strength. That's huge. You gotta. It doesn't even have to be fancy, because you in your high school and you pick up your first dumbbell, you pick up like 20 pounds of muscle, within like 2 months. Now we try to do that when we're 30 and 40, and it's not that easy. But when you're that young, it is that easy. So you don't even necessarily need a very fancy program. You just need to go in and start lifting and eating when you're in high school. You got to lift and eat because everyone points to big leaguers, and there's not many big leaguers that are under 180 pounds. There's just not. These guys are men, and you look at SEC players. Those guys are men, and even at the Division III level, we had a guy who could run a 6'5" and hit a ball 420 feet at the Division III level. At every level, you're going to have physical specimens. So the biggest thing you can do is develop your body. And then once you start hitting benchmarks, like if you hit 80 miles an hour off the mound, then you can start sending videos out. If if you can find out schools that understand blast metrics, we use blasts here. So if you have purchased a blast and you send me your blast numbers, that could be another huge thing. If you have a bat speed of 68 miles an hour and above, that sparks my interest. That's a baseline because there's certain numbers that you have to reach, and then we can start working on the small intricacies of hitting, of timing, and all of that. And, so it's these baseline numbers that you have to hit, and a lot of it has to do with strength work and eating. Guys, you got to eat. Like that's every recruit we talk to is that you need to eat as much as you can, okay? Because it's really tough to lose weight, but when people don't understand, it's really tough to gain weight if you're skinny. And they're like, "Oh, I eat all the time." I'm like, "Yeah, well, how many meals do you eat?" 4. Well, eat 6. That it doesn't really click in their head that much. It's because it's that like, well, who can eat more than 4 meals a day? I'm like, well, people who want to gain weight do. Everyone points to Michael Phelps. That crazy diet he had when he was training for the Olympics. That was not pleasurable. Eating that much isn't pleasurable, but it's something that has to be done to gain strength and gain body weight.
So talk a little bit about the roster management piece of it. So from a D3 standpoint, maybe not many seniors are coming back, but just in a given year, how does that work? How do you know how many guys you should be trying to fill in that freshman roster? And then what are the other ways you lose guys other than graduation? So parents can kind of understand that that puzzle you're trying to put together behind the scenes.
Okay, so for Division III schools, one thing you have to look into is, do they have a JV program? A lot of times if a school has a JV program, they have a certain number of roster spots they have to fill. We do not have a JV program, and we don't have a certain number that we have to fill. So that's definitely advantageous for players that come into our program, because you're not going to be in a group of 70 or more, which that is not fairly common, but there are many schools that have JV programs and that have 50 plus players in their program. We don't, but we also don't have a roster cap, so we can still the travel size. We still have a travel size number, but as far as our roster goes, we had 40 guys this year, right around 40, and we definitely try to keep it nowhere. I think next year we might have like 44 or something like that, but we're definitely not going to go into the 50s for sure, because we always want to give everyone a fair shot.
So tell parents because there's other reasons that guys, it's not just, you can't just look at how many seniors a team has and, expect them to graduate. There's other things that happen where players leave. What are some of the other roster options and impacts that you guys have to deal with?
That money is definitely one thing that you have to look into, is that sometimes that they were able to afford it financially coming in, and then they might not be able to afford it after their sophomore freshman year. That's definitely something that happens at the Division III level. Other things is that maybe they become more passionate about school and about a certain degree, and they know that they can go to that a more prestigious school and get a better degree. That's something that happens, and it's definitely something that we're not going to stop from, because the Division III level school is all that matters, because there's so many limitations that it's you're not coming to Division III school to become a big leaguer. You're coming here to get a 4-year degree. You're coming here so that once you get a degree from Maryville, that you're going to leave and you're going to get a job right away. That was one of the coolest statistics that we have at our school, is that I think it was the 2018 graduation class, that there was only one person out of that whole graduating class that hadn't gotten a full-time job with it after a year. So our degree means something, and a lot of these small schools, it does mean something. So those are two reasons, whether it's money or falling out of love with baseball and wanting to focus on school.
Do you see an impact of maybe D3 guys maybe getting more players, or maybe an increased level of player now that the D2 and the D1 rosters are going to kind of get bunched up a little bit here for the next 4 years? Do you see guys maybe taking a different route?
I think it's going to be the transfer portal it's going to be all over the place. I think that's the biggest thing. I do think we might get a little bit of an uptick in talent, but a lot of it has to do with financial, because just for the fact is that what most people don't understand is that we can't offer you that athletic scholarship, but we definitely can compete with a lot of Division IIs, because there's probably a lot of people who are on athletic scholarship at the Division II that are paying more money than all the kids on our roster. So, because we can definitely put a lot of D3s can put a competitive package together to, make it affordable.
So talk to me a little bit about communication. If I'm a kid, what's the best way to reach out to a coach, and what order are you looking for? Email, text, phone call, DMs? How do you want that process to work?
The majority
at Maryville.
At Maryville, I'm a little bit different because, one of the things that's made me a better coach is just I'm on Twitter quite often, and reading books and all of that, and you're not going to annoy me. I'll tell you that. That's for me. You might annoy other coaches, but if you're really passionate about coming to our program and you want to shoot me a direct message on Twitter, I'm all for it. That's just me personally. I love the DMs because I try to put out content out there to show not only to help you as a baseball player, but I also wanted to show you how much I care about everyone in our program. That's one thing. I try to highlight our guys as much as possible, because not only am I showing you, like, look, this is where we came from with this player, and I hopefully can do that for you, but also I'm giving the player on our team a pat on the back and be like, look, I'm proud of you, man. You did a phenomenal job. So I'm all about Twitter, and some people aren't, but just me personally, just the advancements in my career, it's been huge. I can't say enough, and I kind of got that from my wife, because my wife is a social media director for a makeup company, so she's on there all the time, and she helps me too.
Awesome. So if I'm a player, why Maryville? Why should I be looking at Maryville?
Just, the family. I've never felt so much emotion that day when everything ended with this group, because it was just so much more than just being a baseball team. Because my coaching philosophy, everyone has their own, but for me, I'm definitely going to push you, and I'm definitely, I'm going to try to get you better, but also I'm there to be your friend. Like there's so many of these seniors that I just hate to see go, because, I just have such a good relationship with them. That's the biggest thing. I mean, because obviously, why Maryville? We have a $1.2 million clubhouse, phenomenal. So that's what jumps off the board online. But just with the culture that Coach Helton has started here with this team, I mean, for me, I don't want to be anywhere else. I love this place. My wife and I have a great house here, and the community is amazing. It's definitely a place where you want to send your kid, because it's a place where I want to have a kid. I want to bring my kid up in this town. It's a phenomenal place to be. And, a lot of kids get caught up in the gear and, saying I go to this school and whatnot, but it's all about the relationships you make after, because it's all, oh, you remember that one night? You're gonna you're gonna have a lot of those memories and a lot of good times. I mean, the biggest thing is, if you can, we're recruiting you. One of the best nights to be, or be around there, not necessarily with us, but just to take in the alumni atmosphere of the school. Anyone that's gone to the school says nothing but good things to say about it. So I'm definitely super proud and appreciative to be a part of this family.
TJ Wharton, recruiting and performance coordinator, Maryville College. But I appreciate you spending some time with us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.